All right, class. Section 1.5, describe angle pair relationships. So here we need to tell whether the angles are only adjacent, meaning they are only right next to each other, they share a side, or if they are adjacent and form a linear pair. Linear pair, I mentioned briefly in the previous video, that's two angles that added up equal 180 degrees. And they'll form a line. Two of their rays will form a line. Or non-adjacent. So they do not share a side. They are not side by side. And then do not add up to 180 or anything else like that. So, example number 1, we have angle AEB. So let's look at angle AEB and angle BED. BED. Okay, we see that along ray EB, they share that ray, they share that side of their angle. So we know they are adjacent, and they also form this line across AED. So they are adjacent and form a linear pair. So adjacent and form a linear pair. Okay, let's erase this and do the next one. Angle AEB again. And BEC. Okay, they share ray EB again. So they are adjacent, but they do not form a linear pair. So they are only adjacent. They are side by side, touching one another, only adjacent. All right, we'll erase that and then do example number 3. Angle DEC, right there in blue, and angle AEB, there in green. They share a point. They both connect there at E, but none of their sides are touching. They are not side by side. They do not share a side. So they are not adjacent. They are non-adjacent. Non-adjacent. All right, example number 4. Now in this example, they use numbers to name some of the angles instead of letters. That's fine. If they've got the numbers there, they can use the numbers. We just need to identify where they're at. So we've got angle 5 right there, and angle 6 here. Okay, we see that they share a side of the angle along ray PU, and they form a line. So they share the side and they form the line. So they are adjacent and form a linear pair. Adjacent and form linear pair. Okay, then example number 5. Angle 7 is right there. And angle SPU. All right, this one is tricky. They do share a side. They both share the ray PS. However, they're not side by side. They're overlapping. So these are actually not adjacent. They are non-adjacent. They are not side by side, even though they share a side. So sharing a side does not automatically mean adjacent. As we can see here, they share a side, but they overlap rather than being side by side. So non-adjacent. Then example number 6. And angle 7 and angle 8. So there's angle 7, and then angle 8, the angle over on the left. So they share that endpoint, but they do not share a side. They are not side by side, sharing a side, so they are non-adjacent. Okay, example number 7. This is asking us to find the complement and supplement of angle F. Now, complementary and supplementary are going to be words we use a lot in geometry with complementary angles, supplementary angles. We're going to use it a lot. So complementary means the angles will add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary, the angles will add up to 180 degrees. So a linear pair, whenever we say two angles are adjacent and form a linear pair adds up to 180 degrees. They are supplementary angles. So we need to find specifically the complement of angle F. So we already know one of the angles. We need to know the other angle that we can add to it to get 90 degrees. So we take 90 minus 59, and that will give us 31 degrees. So the complement is 31 degrees. The supplement, we start with 180. We know 59. We want to know what the other angle is that adds up with 59 to get 180. So we subtract by 59. And we get 121. So 121 degrees is our supplement of angle F. All right, example number 8, we need to find x and y. We can see our two x's here. We have two y's. Now we've got to think of a way to solve for x and a way to solve for y. I want to focus on one first, so let's think about the x's. Just going off of what we're learning so far, let's see if there's a way that we could maybe add up numbers to 180, forming a linear pair. So let's look at a couple linear pairs first. So right there is a linear pair. Angle 5x minus 35 and 3y plus 5, those would add up to 180. But because we have an x and a y, we're not going to be able to solve for either one of those. We need to get both of our x's together without any y's in the equation to be able to solve for x, or both of our y's together without any x's to solve for y. So let's look at another linear pair that we know or can see. Right there, but then we come up with the same situation. Now we have 3x plus 7 and 3y plus 5 being a linear pair. So those would be supplementary, but again, we have an x and a y to deal with, so we wouldn't be able to solve for just one of them. However, if you notice now, 3y plus 5 was included in both of those. So 3y plus 5 is supplementary with 3x plus 7, and it's also supplementary with 5x minus 35. But it's the same number. So that means the other two have to be the same number. And this is actually what we call vertical angles. So we have the angle here and the angle here. Bad drawing, angle there. Those are vertical angles. So whenever you have an x cross section, the angles opposite each other are vertical, and that means they're equal. So 3x plus 7 is the same as 5x minus 35, and same for the y's also. So we'll take 3x plus 7 equals 5x minus 35, and then we can solve for x. So subtract 3x on both sides. Those cancel out. We have left with 2x. We can add 35 to both sides. So that will cancel. Add 35 to 7, which gives us 42. And then to get x by itself, divide by 2 on both sides. So x equals 21. So now we know the x. We could plug x back in to one of our angles there, and then add them up with 3y plus 5, set it equal to 180, and do a supplementary angle that way. But we already know that our y's, our angles with y's are also vertical angles, so let's just do that. Y plus 75 equals 3y plus 5. So we can subtract y on both sides. We get 2y, and then subtract 5 on both sides. And that will leave us with 70. So 70 equals 2y, get y by itself by dividing by 2. So 35 equals y. Example number 9, find x and y. So go ahead and pause the video here. Solve that. Okay, hopefully you figured that out already. Let's look at it. So if we tried to solve this one like the previous one, and we did our vertical angles, now we have a 2y and a 7x. We've got an x and a y there, so it doesn't help us to set each of those equal to each other because we need the variables to be the same. So we do have two x's on the board. Got an x there and an x there. So do those form supplementary angles or a linear pair? And yeah, they do. So right here, we see that they are a linear pair. They're supplementary, meaning they need to add up to 180 degrees. So we can say 9x plus 20 plus 7x equals 180. Then combine our like terms. We've got a 9x and a 7x. That will give us 16x plus 20 equals 180. Let's get x by itself. Divide by 16. And x equals 10. So we know x equals 10. Now we can use that to help us find y. So we can take 10, plug it in for x, and now we have 2y and 7x that we now know is 70. Those are vertical angles. So now we can say 2y equals 70. Get y by itself, and y equals 35. Y equals 35. All right, example number 10. Angle A and angle B are complementary, and we need to find the measure of angle A and the measure of angle B. So first, what does complementary mean? It is 90 degrees, add up to 90 degrees. So we know that A and B are complementary, so we know each of those together add up to 90 degrees. So 3x plus 2 plus x minus 4 equals 90. Add 3x and x. 2 minus 4 gives us negative 2, so minus 2 equals 90. We want to get x by itself, so move the 2 over, add it over to the other side. And then divide by 4 on both sides. So x will equal 23. But our problem is asking for the measure of angle A and the measure of angle B. So we need to take that and plug it back in for x in both of those. So we have for angle A, 3 times 23 plus 2. 3 times 23 will give us 69, plus 2 will give us 71. So the measure of angle A equals 71 degrees. And then our other one I'll do over here on the other side for angle B. (23 minus 4). So we get 19. The measure of angle B is 19 degrees. And then we want to check and make sure that they are complementary. 71 plus 19 gives us 90 degrees. So they are complementary. That does work out. We're able to find out how the measure of each of those angles. That's it for the notes today. Have a great day.